Hi, my name is Deionization, and my project is about membrane capacitive deionization. So, water scarcity is becoming a big issue in the current time because of our growing population, and freshwater sources are being depleted, like underground aquifers and freshwater streams, to provide for this growing population. And on top of that, climate change is changing the water cycle so that it's more difficult for us to access fresh water. One untapped source of water, though, is salty ocean water. At first, uh, on its own, salty ocean water is almost useless because it can't be used for irrigation or drinking. But if we deionize it, it becomes useful. Some countries have already started desalinating or deionizing this salty ocean water, like Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Arabia plants use a method of desalination called reverse osmosis. Not the most effective method out there. Reverse osmosis is currently the most popular method of desalination. It's a process in which water travels through a series of semi-permeable membranes. The semi-permeable membrane is something that allows some uh, um, some materials to go through, but stops others from going through. So the semi-permeable membranes in this case allow the water to go through, but stop ions from going through. These ions are in the water from dissolved solids like NaCl or salt. The semi-permeable membranes trap the ions and so it purifies the water. And the salty water travels through a series of these semi-permeable membranes in order to become completely purified. While this is the primary method of water desalination, it's also not the most effective method out there. Another method of deionization is called capacitive deionization. This is a process through which water flows past two electrodes. The electrodes on either side of the water attract ions from the water, and the ions stay with the electrode. One issue with capacitive deionization, though, is that once the electrode is maxed out on the charge, it won't attract. Any time it attracts more, it'll and more ions, it'll let go of some ions in the process, which those ions are able to re-enter the water because there's nothing stopping them from doing so. This can be problematic because it won't completely purify the water because there'll still be ions remaining. When you add a membrane to the capacitive deionization system, it becomes a membrane capacitive deionization system, or MCDI. So this system, the membranes will stop the ions from re-entering the water. There's still an electrode on either side, but this time there's a cation or anion exchange membrane stopping the ion from re-entering the water. The membrane is placed between the water and the electrode. It's similar to the membranes used in the reverse osmosis process, but it allows ions to go to the electrode, just not back out. This makes membrane capacitor deionization more efficient than capacitor deionization and reverse osmosis. So my questions while doing this project will be if I can build a fully functional membrane capacitor deionization system, because membrane capacitor deionization is a relatively new technology. So it's important to test it before implementing it anywhere and coming across problems when it's too late. Another one of my questions was what quality water is produced by the system and what water flow will make this system perform best. A water flow that's too fast will make the system, if the water flows too fast, the electrodes will not be able to attract the ions out of the water, and if the water flows too slow, it's not efficient. So That is also one of my main questions. I also wanted to see if there is an effect on the water quality by adding a semi-permeable membrane at the end of the system. So after building the membrane capacitive deionization system, I'm going to add a semi-permeable membrane like the ones used in reverse osmosis to see whether or not there's an effect on the water quality. Then I will test the water quality of that system and the water flow rate efficiency. So my method is to first construct the membrane capacitive deionization system. This is To do this, I will use an activated carbon cloth as the electrode, an anion exchange membrane, and a cation exchange membrane. This setup will help me. I will then test this setup with a variety of water flow rates to find the maximum of desalination. I've also included a salinity refractometer to see whether or not the system is working. Then I will add the semi-permeable membrane to the end of the system, like the ones they use in reverse osmosis. I will test the new system with a variety of water flows to find max desalination, and then compare the desalination rates and the water quality. Membrane capacitive deionization is important because it could change the entire game of desalination. It has the potential of making desalination more efficient and economically viable. It's important to test this so that we can see whether it can be implemented in large systems to help desalinate seawater and other water that's necessary, and brackish water and other water that's used with ions.